Growing up in China, I had this luxury of having all kinds of delicious breakfast. In my first 15 years, I lived with my grandparents. So when I was little, my grandpa would bring me to this mutton soup shop every weekend morning. And he will always be amazed how big a bowl of soup and how much bread I can finish. Then when my aunts or my mom visited us, they would proudly share my ability to eat more than him. By the way, that shop charged a flat fee, so it didn't cost more to have more soup or bread. For elementary school, I went to this boarding school. For some reason, I always sneak into the school kitchen. There, I met this very passionate young cook who wanted to compete in some bakery competition. Because of that, he was almost always secretly practicing and making all kinds of very fancy desserts that are not part of our student meal plan. So I became the lucky one to clean up what he made and to cover his deeds. In high school, I finally attended a public one where I made friends with normal people instead of those rich kids that I had in my previous schools who seemed enjoyed making fun of how I carried myself or the thing I did day to day too much. Anyway, so during my public high school, I and my friends will gather together in the morning and spend less than $50 to buy this awesome street food that I haven't found in my city, at least in the US. Then we would ride bike together to the school. In the winters, the street was covered by the snow, then we couldn't ride bikes on it. So most of the students either have to take the bus or be dropped off by their parents. But lucky for us, we had this big friend in our group who would ride in front of us and press out a rutted track for us to follow. And that's how we made it. During college, I moved to a city far away from my family, and that's exactly the reason why I moved to there. That city had extreme weathers, but I still loved it because of its location. My college summers were not too bad as long as you keep yourself in a room with AC on the window. So in China, we don't have centralized AC. Because that's a waste of energy, we have window AC. However, none of those buildings had heatings for safety concerns. For that reason, every morning to have a cup of hot soy milk, a hot tea egg, or a steaming hot bun, they were like our hand warmer, like when we need to attend a class or taking notes. In my graduate school, I tried running even further away from my hometown, and luckily I landed in the US, where people mostly eat the US breakfast. Things like bacon and eggs if you are old, or cereal if you are little, or nothing at all if you are between 10 years old to 30 years old. In this pathetic small amount of American breakfast selection, I managed to find my personal favorite, the free coffee and a donut on the campus when there were some events held. So maybe that's the reason you are seeing more Chinese students on campus? Anyway, now I got my full-time job and bought a house. I finally can afford to have Chinese breakfast again. I would wake up 5 a.m. in the morning, make things like doujiang, youtiao, matuan, shaomai from scratch. However, after several months, I finally realized and accepted that they just don't taste as good as what I remembered. And after 20 years of running away from my hometown, I finally gave in and decided to call my mom and ask about everything.